All right, 2003 KLR 650. That's a Gen 1 KLR 650. So this is going to be pertaining to all the Gen 1 KLR 650s, and I'm going to be changing the front shock oil. I've already taken out the other side. This side, I am going to loosen the pinch bolts right here. They're 12 mil, so loosen these a little bit, and then a 19 mil to remove the cap on the top. Let me put the camera down and I will do that. Sorry, I couldn't find two 12s. Two 12 millimeters, one on the front, one on the back. Hopefully you can see that. I've already loosened them, but to show you how you're going to do it. Loosen the pinch bolt, top and bottom. Not too much, just a little, so you're not putting too much pressure on the top end cap. Now with the 19 millimeter, we're going to pull the end cap out. Again, mine was halfway out. I've already loosened it. This is the end cap with the Schrader valve. Actually, before you do this, push on the little pin in the middle to make sure there's no air inside there, and because it could shoot it out on you. Pull out the spacer. I'm grabbing a coat hanger, a long coat hanger, a little hook on the end. Reach down inside through the middle hole. It's kind of hard to get through the center hole. Have to bend it properly. Making a tinier hook. Reach down and you should be able to pull out the spring, washer and everything. This is going to be covered in oil. So there's a space, someone's put a spacer washer in there, and the spacer that goes on top of the spring, the stock one, someone's put this in, maybe to firm up the springs a little bit. And then pull your spring out. Again, they're going to be oily. You can see the fork oil. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. And okay, now we got an oil catch pan because we're going to use the drain bolt on the bottom of the fork leg down here. It's a Phillips screw. Make sure you don't strip it. And make sure you don't lose it. It's just small. It's got a little rubber sealing, like that. A little rubber seal on, like seal washer. So make sure you don't lose that. And there's gonna be a lot of nasty crap. See this silver? That's all like aluminum filings and junk. So we're gonna do that to both sides, drain both sides. Pink stuff is the nice fork oil. The silver in there is metal shavings, metal dust, and I don't know if you can see it in there. Can you see the difference? You see the gray? So anyway, we're gonna let that drain and then we'll do the other side and I'll be back in a few minutes. Takes a few minutes to drain completely. So if you've got a big enough catch can, I took off the other side and then lifted the fork and slid the oil container under so both sides could drain at the same time to save me some time on this. And they're basically both about drained. And now we're going to lift the forks, push the forks up. There's nothing holding them. There's no spring. There's nothing. There's no pressure holding. So you're just going to push up on the fork and it's going to pump all the crap out of there. And it's probably going to squirt. So let's do this. as bad as I thought. Not that bad at all. Now I'm gonna pour some new fork oil in there and let it drain through and hopefully chase any of the nasties out there, that gray crap. Lovely. As you can see, I kind of missed. Damn it. Let's put a bit more on this side. I have a pinched nerve in this hand, and using it is kind of sketchy. So I kind of trying to pour with it, not good. So anyway, I'm going to let that new fork oil drain out, then I'm going to pump it again, and hopefully that should be the last of the crap coming out. And I'll be back when that's done. Okay, for this next step, you're going to have to compress the forks all the way. You can lift the forks up and put something underneath. I'm just going to let my jack down. And the forks should stay, or should compress all the way. There we go. There's what a KLR lowrider looks like. So forks are compressed, back in 1 second. Okay, so the amount of fork oil you're going to want is 355 cc's. I've emptied this bottle until it's 355 approximately, give or take a cc or two. That's how much is going to go into each fork tube. So I've been smart and used a funnel this time. Again, the front shocks are compressed. The front forks are both compressed all the way down. And once this is in, we'll use the dipstick measurement method. Which is pretty simple. Let this dump in. So the fluid should be 7.5, approximately 7.5 inches from the top. I've taken a barbecue skewer and put a little mark at 7.5. Let's take this out. And we're going to dip down the top of the shock and see if we touch any oil. There's no oil on there. I'm going to go down a little further. Still nothing. A little further. Do I have my measurement right at 7.5 inches? Let me check the manual. Now it seems my measurement was correct. I just have to add a little more fork oil. Add it bit by bit because you don't want to have to extract it. I mean, I can, I've got an extractor, but why waste the oil if you don't have to? So I'm just going to keep adding little by little and dipping. Oh, bingo. Dead on. Oh. Now I have to extract a tiny little bit. You can use a turkey baster. You can use a syringe, whatever you have to extract it. I have a vacuum oil pump. Vacuum oil pump, and I'm just going to suck. It'll vacuum the oil. I only need to take a little bit out. So I should have listened to myself a little at a time. I should have gone a little less at a time. I don't think I put that much in. Let's measure that again. Need to take a little more out. And that's good, just touching the bottom. So I'm gonna fill up the other side and okay, both sides are at the proper level, and I'm going to jack the bike back up so that the front wheel is off the ground again. Okay. Okay, these are the stock springs, so there is no top and bottom. Just make sure they're clean. I'm going to leave this spacer washer that someone put in there because the bike rode absolutely fine. So I'm going to leave it in there. Maybe there's a little bit, maybe the spring's a little worn. I'm not sure. It's a 17-year-old bike. But someone had it in there for a reason, and the bike ran fine with it, or rode fine with it, so I'm just going to leave it there. Make sure this washer goes in small part down. Basically, you have to drop it in and then take something. If it doesn't go in straight, you'll have to take something and make sure it's in there straight. So that it goes small end down. I just used a flashlight and our dipstick to poke it down. The washer just, I'm sure there's no up and down on that. I'll let you see inside of that. You see inside there? Oh, see the washer's halfway. I'm just gonna have to hit it with the stick and so it's flat. There we go. Spacer tube. And your fork tube cap. You have to push down on the spacer tube because it's going to be spring loaded from the spring. And get it slightly tight. And let me look up the torque spec for that. I don't know the torque spec for tightening that up. The pinch bolts on these pinch bolts here, I think are 18 to 20 foot-pounds. I'm not sure what that top fork tube bolt is. Let me back in 1 second, let me check it. Okay, so the fork cap is about 21, 22 foot-pounds. If you've only got an inch-pound wrench, multiply that by 12 for inch-pounds. sure not to tighten these first. These have to be loose so that this isn't going into a pinched tube. Almost. Okay. Oops. Don't move, Mike. There we go. And now we can tighten these bolts. The pinch bolts to 20 foot-pounds, and we're done. If you want to air up the front shocks, that's up to you. I'm going to put about 4 psi of air in there, and that's about it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, call me a jerk, whatever you want. Thanks very much.